Without the power of God behind everything I do, I really am completely inadequate.
I'm helping the culture. These guys are part of us as well. You know, these are guys of our cousin. I'm helping the culture. I'm pushing the culture forward in another way.
Hey, black child, be what you can be, learn what you must learn, do what you can do, and tomorrow.
What do you do after you read? What do you do after you know all, right? And you can say that you're truly conscious. How are you putting what you know into action?
This is the Initiative radio show, shifting the paradigm through conversation on any and everything relating to our communities and culture. Now introducing your new girl, Jasmine Renee.
Hey, what's up? Good morning. Happy Saturday. I'm back in the studio. I wasn't here last week. I forgot what I was doing. But, I was speaking on a panel, and that went actually pretty well. I got some more opportunities as a result of that. But, yeah, I am very happy to be back in the studio. And I have a special guest here, King Walker.
Hello. How are you doing?
Good. I'm good. Well, it sounded like he was asking the people. So
I'm talking to you and the people.
Right. Yeah, so he's here. We met last school year, working basically in Inglewood, and shared some conversations here and there. And you've been following the movement since, I guess, we met.
About a year and some change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's been dope. He's on this journey of like being a motivational speaker, and he is like sharing a lot of light with people. His posts are definitely motivational, and I think that's definitely like a niche that you have. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
That.
So yeah, as far as my week, because I always start off with like how my week went.
Okay.
My week was cool. Actually, it wasn't cool. It was a lot going on.
Okay.
I try to be very like transparent. It was a lot going on. As you guys know, I do work with the special education department, I should say, for LEUSD, and then I'm also a basketball coach. So, It was just, everything was just, all over the place this week, and we're going into playoffs. So that has been, a journey in itself. So yeah, it was just, one of those weeks where I'm just like, ooh, I can't wait till Saturday. And I try not to have those weeks, but sometimes you have them, and sometimes you just have to let them rock.
The best part is you got something to look forward to.
Right.
Yeah, that's always good when you got something to look forward to.
Right.
When you're doing the boring stuff.
Rather than just going through the motions forever. Right.
Exactly.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was your week?
My week has been very interesting. My week has been very interesting due to the fact of the response level that I've been getting from, I don't want to say the universe, because God made the universe.
Right.
But the energy that I've been putting out and getting back has been a true blessing. I've reached people that I didn't plan on reaching, from people dealing with mental health, which is levels to mental health, and people, thanking me for helping them see another day. People thanking me for just checking on them, reaching out with my kind words, giving them a mindset to have on a day-to-day basis, And one of my favorite things I like to tell them is always remember, the breath of life is more precious than any money,
Right.
Because that's the one thing that I feel like everyone can take for granted when you're upset,
right,
when you're mad, disappointed about something,
Right.
And I had recently went to go visit a uncle inside of I want to say a rehabilitation hospital, and he can't walk, and I had this thought process thinking, like I said in one of my videos, that you drive around the parking lot and you're looking for the closest parking spot just so you can walk right into the door. There are people who wish they could walk to the nearest parking spot,
Right.
you know, and I feel like the five senses and having an able body, sometimes you forget that that's a true blessing.
Right.
And you take that for granted as well, you
Right.
know? So, you know, having that thought process has really like changed my dynamic in my everyday week, you know, on an everyday basis, you know, and you know, dealing with that helps with depression, anxiety, you know, because all those things go into dealing with mental health,
Yeah.
you know.
Yep.
Because for me, how I even got started with doing this motivational thing is I grew up with not the best hand. I'm sure a lot of people can tell you that story, you know. But I grew up with not the best hand. And it took me a long time to figure out, like, well, what do you want to do in life?
Right.
How do you define your purpose? What are you going to do that's going to give back to people versus you just taking from people?
Right.
You know, this is the only thing that I wake up with every morning and every day, just to be like, you know what? Let me see who I can make better today. And not that I'm perfect, because I'm
Right.
not. But the one thing I do know is somebody can use some energy every day.
Yeah.
So I grew up not going to school, which landed me in 2 group homes. I stayed in the group home all through middle school. So the next best thing for me was, excuse me, a little under the weather, was from sports. So I didn't have a father figure like that. My father nor my mom wasn't in my life. So the next best thing for me was being able to get positive mindsets from my coach. You know, just my environment, things around me, watching stuff off the TV. You know, dealing with, you know, being homeless at one point. You know, like literally like eating out of trash cans. Like those things right there that I have survived, from being in group homes to being homeless to eating out of trash cans. I've even dealt with family abuse, you know, and dealing with those things just right there alone, none of those ended me up in jail. You know, none of those ended me up wanting to go inflict pain on someone else.
Right.
You know, and that right there is when I realized, you know, I have a true blessing to be built for this, to be able to tell other black men, especially young black men, that you can outwork your environment.
Right.
You can outwork the position that you're in life, as long as you take the time out to define your purpose,
Right.
what it is that you want to do in life. It don't have to be a motivational speaker. You know, you may want to be the best trash man you can be.
Right. Right.
You know, it doesn't have to be that, you know. And, you know, a lot of times you hear a lot of black young men say, if this was different, then I would be in this position.
Right. Right.
But I learned a long time ago that if only works up to a certain point in your life, you know what I mean? You have to be the why reason,
Right.
which is you. Why you're going to make the change, why you're going to try to do better, you know? Once you get to a certain point, it's not on your parents no more.
Right.
It's on you.
So when did that switch, I guess, happen for you? Because, I mean, typically, you know, in society, we view like the age of 21 or the age of like 18, where you become not so much a product of your parents, but a product of like your doings and what environment you put yourself in. So when did you become from like when did you go from needing the motivation to becoming the motivator?
Well, when I went from needing the motivation to becoming a motivator, it's because in every situation that I was in, no matter how bad it was, if someone came to me with an issue, I'm not going to bring my problems to your table. I was able to shut that down, open up my ears and my heart or whatever to you, to hear what you got to tell me,
Right.
and to give you the best advice that I can tell you based off what I've survived, you know? And so with that being said, that's when I came with the slogan of "It's already done." Now, "It's already done" is basically like an everyday motivator, to where, like, you know, when people pray, right? Even though you may pray about stuff, sometimes, let's be honest, like you You don't necessarily trust it.
Right.
You'll pray.
Right.
But then you'll still go drink. You'll go get high. You'll still go do whatever it is you're doing. But you got to start believing in your belief system.
Right.
If you don't believe in your belief system, then that energy that you're putting out, it's not going to come back. You know? You can pray and say, I don't want to do this no more. But then you turn around and you go do it.
Right.
You know, at some point, it's got to be, I've been saying this, faith without work. You know, you gotta put something in to get something back.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
You can't just say, I don't want to be an alcoholic no more, but I'm going to go 7 days a week and see if something happens, see if maybe I just get over it.
Right. And then to people, because, in this day and age, people are so anti-religion. But I think, and I've always said this, as I was born and raised in the church, that, you take the Bible for what it is. And like you said, faith without works is dead. And just applying that to like a natural thing, you can't, go and ask anybody for anything without first showing yourself. Right. You can't ask anything in those that believe even in the universe. Like, it's very silly to think that the universe just pours into people without you giving back. So I think that's something to just like think about. You can't really get to a certain point in your life or even get to a point where things are like coming to you without first doing the work or making it available, making room for whatever it is that you're asking for.
It's like when you go somewhere and you purchase something and it's not what you wanted. You get upset, you go back, you return it, right?
Right.
But what happens when you mess up? Do you want to return on yourself?
Right.
Do you get upset? Do you feel like, this one's on me? Like that, I can't put that on nobody.
Right.
I need to return on myself. I got to fix that.
Right.
That's on me.
Right.
And there are a lot of young men that are locked up right now. A lot of young men still in group homes. There are a lot of young men that are running the streets and don't know what to do.
Right.
And they just need some guidance.
Right.
And that's where I find the beauty in this, because you need someone that's made it so far over the age of, I'm way out my 20s and my 30s now, who's pretty much doesn't have a record, and I'm here to answer all the questions for them to help them understand that what you're doing doesn't have to be an option.
Right.
You don't have to go to jail.
Right.
I said this also in one of my videos, like, you can't take real nigga to the bank, and some of these things they're doing to just move fast and pretty much die young. There's no future game plan. They're glorifying OGs and triple OGs that have done certain things just to feed their families. Right. Not because it was cool, not just to wear the jewelry. Right. You know what I mean? Not just to be out there catching a body because you feel like it's some type of championship belt out in the streets to have. Right. And so, some of it is based off parents, even though I said you can't use that excuse to a certain point. Yeah. But some young black men are treating women a certain way because of the way their mom treated them. Right. You know what I mean? And this is a real one right here. I love black women. As a black man. But there was one point where I felt like, well, why should I? The black woman that had me didn't want to be around to raise me. Right. So, and I feel like I bet I'm not the only one who probably felt that way. Right. You got a lot of young black men dealing with this mental illness on so many different levels. Suicide. Also, just not knowing where the next meal is going to come from. Right. Not knowing if they're going to wake up the next day. And it's hard. It's hard because self-love is, for most people, is built off everyone else giving you a compliment. Right. You know, it takes a lot of mental and inner strength to be able to look within yourself and say, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to outwork my situation, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the blessing that I want to continue to share with them. Because, you know, not everybody's built like that.
Right.
But everybody has their own little purpose. Everybody has their own little purpose. And the moment that they define that, that's when I feel like things will start changing for young black men.
Right.
The separation they do, this is one of my favorite things I've been meaning to talk about, is the neighborhood. When you hear, oh, I just moved into the neighborhood, you think of a good place, right?
Right.
But if I take the nay off and I say I just moved into the hood, oh, now we're thinking there's cops everywhere. It's a bad situation.
Right.
Guess what? You're still in the neighborhood too. It's just that that's something that they made up, which is the neighbors, the naysayers, the white supremacy folks. That's how I feel.
Right.
You know, because white folks say, welcome to the neighborhood, you know, and then we've gotten it to where it's like, okay, welcome to the hood. No, it's still a neighborhood. It's a neighborhood everywhere you go.
Right.
You know, and the neighborhood that you live in doesn't have to be the hood.
Right.
But we know how that goes.
Yep.
You know, that take one at a time to really build up where you stay at, where you live at, you know. And it's a level of difficulty because so many black men struggle with not identifying how strong they are. A lot of them, they feel like if I give me some more white friends, like I'll probably be successful. If I went to a white school, they probably would look at me more playing sports, you know? And it's like, really? Because there are a lot of successful black athletes. There are a lot of successful black rich men. There are a lot of black men who have good credit.
Right.
You know? But the examples that they see, as far as they're concerned, white is right.
Right. And there's a few things that you said that I wanted to touch on. Because you mentioned suicide, and a few months ago I did a show on suicide, and I re-aired it last week. And it was basically, you know, at some point in time I was told, or I believe, that black people didn't commit suicide. And as I've gotten older and I have researched, I've realized that is not factual, that black people definitely do commit suicide. And actually, I believe right now that children, and I can't say for sure if it's solely black children, but aging from like 5 to 12, that's like the highest rate right now. And then black women have the highest rate when it comes to attempting suicide, but it's not just, it's not being manifested as much, but there's a high number of attempts. So what is your relation with suicide? Is it something that you felt? Is it something that you've experienced through like people around you, and even have been worked with kids? Like, is that something that you were able to like pick up on with the boys?
The thing is, the age that you named was 5 to 12. That makes a lot of sense. Between 5 and 12, you know, at 5, a kid is a sponge. Right. He or she picks up everything that you're saying. Right. You know, certain things you can't say around them. You know, so you see, you know, mommy and daddy fighting. You know, if you see some people getting hurt out in the streets, you know when someone that's around you that's supposed to be raising you don't have it. Right. You hear when someone is saying like, "Oh, this kid not too smart, not too bright," and you think they don't understand. And when you're that young, between 5 and 12, and you don't necessarily express yourself with having a voice to say how you feel, so you're holding all that inside. So and then you don't understand. You go to somebody else like, why are they calling me stupid? Like right. I don't understand. Like why they saying I don't know nothing? Why they talking about my clothes? You know, why are they talking about me online? Right. You know, and due to the confusion, where something may already be wrong with this child. So now they figured that the best thing to do is, because they're depressed and there's a mental block somewhere that says, I don't know what to do with this information. So let me just get rid of myself.
And have you seen that in the kids that you've...
I have. I've seen it, and the good news, oh yeah, that was a bar for you.
Plug.
It's already done.
Right.
So, the thing is that I've had a kid come up to me when I worked at a school, same dirty uniform every day, same dirty uniform every day, and she come over to me and she's like, can you pop me some popcorn? I'm treating it like it's regular, going by the rules. Like, nah, I can't make you no popcorn. I can't do that.
Right.
But then it hit me. You didn't ask you this 3 days in a row, and I didn't see you in the same dirty uniform 3 days in a row. Or you're hungry. Nobody's feeding you at home. I say that to say the suicide happens because nobody's paying attention to them.
Right.
Right. They're reaching out. Any person that's getting ready to take themselves out has always reached out to you in some type of way. Whether they just honestly told you, hey, I thought about taking myself out. You got to take that into serious consideration.
Yeah.
Now I need to check on you.
Right.
Now I need to make sure you're good, because that's not something you take lightly from a kid or a grown person, And so it's like when you get signs from people, you got to I don't want to say, you got to have an unselfish vision. Got to have an unselfish vision.
Right.
Because a lot of times people come to us with stuff and we're like, get out of here.
Right.
I'm busy. I can't deal with you right now.
Or the rules don't allow me to.
Or the rules don't allow you to. But you got to have an unselfish vision. You got to look past the rules sometimes, because there are people that'll come to you and they just want to sit there and just want to talk to you, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, because it may not be a bad situation. They can have everything they need, money, cars, clothes, right? I said this before too, and I'll say it again. Suicide is not based off having a whole bunch of money. Ain't no millionaire taking themselves out because I got 20, 30 million. This too much. I got to go.
Right.
People are taking themselves out because of what's going on the inside.
Right. Yeah.
They just want a hug. I just want a conversation.
Right.
I just want somebody to notice my picture I painted. Yeah, I know it's a stick figure, but I mean,
Right.
At least tell me, tell me something. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants attention.
Right.
I don't care who you are. Even if you live in a single life, you still got people you talk to because you want somebody next to you.
And that brings, the attention thing, that brings up a good point, because even what you talked about with your mom, and how you kind of got to a place where you were like, why should I love a black woman if the one that was supposed to love me was, not there or didn't, show love in a way. So I think that's a good point, because often, as black women and black people in general, we get very defensive when it comes to that. And I think there is definitely an answer in that. I think there is a way to heal from whatever that is and then still be able to love a black woman.
Exactly.
But I think that point is really good and it's deep, and I think a lot of black men that maybe are dating outside of their race have not been able to articulate that, because I think that's probably the first time. Of course we go I've often said there's daddy issues and then there's also mama issues, and sometimes those mama issues are a lot deeper than what we see on the surface with these daddy issues. So to hear you say that is just kind of okay, yeah. So how did that kind of manifest in your life, or was there a certain point in time where you were just I don't want to be with a black woman, I can't,
Well, it was easy for me. I like to be in places where I identify. So I'd rather be with someone
that you identify
that
with.
I identify with,
right?
And it's a thing of, well, this is the interesting one right here. Somebody made my mom that way. Somebody hurt her that way.
Right.
So watch this. When people say, black women are super aggressive. They're mean. They're extra out, right?
Right.
Well, guess what? Somebody made them that way. Because there are some really amazing black women out there.
Right.
There are some nice ones.
Right.
There are some ones that will be there with you, through thick and thin. The problem is that they don't get glorified like you see on the front of a magazine.
Right.
They'll give a white woman on the front of a magazine all the glitter.
Yeah.
Front page cover. Prettiest woman in the world would be what? A white woman. Anything with some melanin in that skin, what we'll do, we'll put her on something that has something to do with like the Triple X magazine. Like is that the best we can do?
Right.
Is that the best we can do? When there are a lot of black women who have paved the way for a lot of women to do what they're doing now.
Right.
And
women in general, not even just
yeah,
black women.
Yeah, not even just black women. We were speaking on black women, but I'm just saying the reason why.
No, I'm just saying for the listeners.
Oh yeah.
I'm not coming
The reason why I push the black woman thing so much is because I feel like they don't get talked about enough. We talk about every other race,
right?
But you rarely hear anything about a black woman besides attitude and she want her nails done. And that's every woman wants their nails done.
Right.
So that's not
and every woman has an attitude.
Exactly.
Everybody has an attitude.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. It doesn't really matter, And I look at some of the a lot of the great leaders. Each one of them, they had a black wife that was with them through some real tough times.
Right.
I mean, come on. I mean, Martin Luther King, I'm sure his wife.
Yeah.
And you're not sure if your man coming home today.
Right.
And
at a young age.
At a young age.
Yeah. And even when they tried to burn the house down.
Exactly.
And it's, I mean, I think in the black community, you have to worry about things like that. But then you have also and not even in the black community, just in communities in general, even when you think of gang life or gangbangers and stuff, when you decide to be with one, you have that aspect to think of. And it's crazy to me that the same fear that you'll have when it comes to a gangbanger is the same fear that you're going to have when it comes to a black person that wants to rebel. And our rebellion doesn't look like a mass shooting. Our rebellion is advocating for ourselves. Our rebellion is loving ourselves. Like the simple things are rebellion.
That's why we're
for
marching.
Us.
That's why we're doing.
Right, and it's crazy that even if I have a husband, even as a white person, if a white person is in a relations with someone that's just hateful and someone that's just doing harm to everybody, we as black people, even if we're living positive lives, but we choose to speak out against the wrongdoings or speak for justice, we still have to have that same fear of our people not coming back home because they're fighting on the front lines. Even like with, I don't know if you heard about that, but it's, I think it's in Jersey with Tamika D. Mallory and Yandy Smith and my son. They went and they were protesting in front of the jail.
Okay.
And because they had turned the heat off in the jail, and I think the jail's temperature was about 30 degrees.
And they were making noise so they can get attention.
So, Tamika D. Mallory is not really a celebrity. She's more of an activist that has got known for her activism. But Yandy is known off of Love and Hip Hop.
Right.
And she was maced. And, they had pictures and videos of her, like, literally screaming. And it's like, this isn't made up. And that's something where you're fearing for your safety, for fighting for the betterment of people that are in prison. So it's just disheartening.
My thing is, I feel like the best thing for us to do as black people is number one, not tear stuff up. Not tearing stuff up only makes it easier for them to be like, that's who we identified you as. The best thing we can do is build.
Yeah.
That's the best thing you can do. As a black person, you can either build or destroy. And I feel like the best thing for us to do is build. So by building, this might sound like a far-fetched idea, but, white folks build neighborhoods all the time. You feel that strongly about it, let's get the gated community popping. If it means that much to you.
Right.
If we want to buy black. Well, we got to get some people making the first black-owned car company. You know, the first black-owned cell phone.
Right.
You know, it's steps to be taken to where they're, you know, it's power moves. You know, not just disaster. You know, and that's how they view us. When we get upset, we don't get destructive. You know what I'm saying? Versus when we get upset, you know, we just become more active. We just build more. That's how you get over anybody. You just keep building.
And I do want to bring up a point because I do think I am very much so like behind being strategic and making sure like we are building. But I think there comes a point in time where, like you said, they are that way because someone made them like that. And I think even looking at this past week, like just looking at the videos that we were able to see, I saw a black woman being thrown to the ground by her ponytail. I saw a black high schooler being basically grabbed by 4 officers, 4 security guards, and like being banged on the table and hit in her thighs. I saw the Yandy thing. And those are just 3 things that will bring you to a point of rage where you do feel like tearing things up. And I think there's certain people in the movement that are for certain things. I think there are builders, but I think there are people that have to go down and knock down the walls of Jericho. I think sometimes though, you know, people have to be that.
Because that police brutality stuff, it's all about location. You're putting officers in neighborhoods that they have nothing to do with. They have no connection. They don't know nobody. Right. You know, they used to be around Andy and Griffith. Right. And you put those officers in there with some real brothers. Right. And so now they don't know how they move. They don't know the lingo, you know. So they're frightened, right? But you take away the ones that may know something about the neighborhood, that may have a better connection, may be able to use less gun power, may be able not to have to use a taser. Maybe it can be dissolved with conversation. Because sometimes, no, not even sometimes, everything is based off relationships. Right. Everything is based off relationships, you know. I mean, listen, you got people snitching in the hood, not just to not do time, but they're doing it because it's based off a relationship. Right. And look, man, you let me do what I do to feed my family, I'm giving everybody up. Right. Which is not the best one we know you want to have. Right. But it's based off a relationship. Yep. Versus you come in there, you're cracking heads, you're knocking down people, you know. And this just popped in my head talking about, you know, you saying about beating up black women. That's the most painful thing to watch. That same person beating up that black woman, you lust after her. You lust after her. And you know it. A black woman is the best thing on the planet. Number 1 thing on the planet. Right. But you beat on her, you know, you call out her name, talk about the hair that she wears, you know, what she should be wearing. Right. But if you had a chance, that's on your number 1 draft pick. That's what you want. Right. You know. But instead of glorifying that and putting that out there, like I said, you get put in places to where you don't get the praise that you should. It's always like, we're gonna let you get you about right here as a black woman. Like, cool, you're doing good. Monster Ball. Halle Berry has done many of amazing movies. So you had to dry hump this white guy in Monster Ball to finally win something. Right. Is that what it took? Right. Okay. Losing Isaiah wasn't enough. Okay. That's what it's about, you know. And you know, I also feel like, you know, going back to talking about the, you know, the young black man or whatever. And I personally said I was going to stop this too, because this is a real bad habit. Bring back talking to women a certain way. You know, talking to women, calling them nigga, that's not your nigga. You know what I'm saying? And I know it slides off so easy, you know what I'm saying, calling women bro, my nigga, you know. But everyone knows words can do a lot, right? So if I keep talking to you and calling you queen or telling you you're beautiful or I appreciate you, things can move a lot different. Because if I keep calling you bro and saying you my nigga, it's going to make you hard for you to stay in the car. Like I said, stay right here. You can't hop the fence with me. Like, well, you said I was your bro. I thought you said I was your nigga. Like, nah. You my queen. You my princess, whatever. Like, I need you to stay right here. I don't want nothing to happen to you. You know, and I feel like we run into that in that type of state too. You know, where you know, guys are in a mental space where they feel like it's okay to just talk to a woman any type of way, you know, and it's not. And I feel like the same thing vice versa. You know, women shouldn't talk to a man just any type of way.
Right.
You know what I mean? We both have our places. And it's not a thing of like, oh, you're not going to have me bowing down to anybody.
Right.
No, it's just a certain level of respect. As a woman that I have to give you, and a certain level of respect as a man that you should want to give me.
Right.
You know, the number one thing I always say, when you walk into a club full of like white women, right? Or you can walk into a club full of white men. This is for black men and black women, right? Their eyes light up.
Yeah.
They excited to see it.
Yeah.
Black male or black female, like, oh, it's about to be a good night.
Right.
I always say, I was like, because to them, we trophies. But I'm like, why we not trophies to each other?
Right.
Because you got some other races that be like, oh no, we don't date outside this race. This is us right here. This is us, you know. And I feel like that's how we should start treating each other like trophies, you know. And it's not to be, you know, selfish, like you can't date anyone else, because I'm not about racism, you know. But at a certain point, we got to at least let everybody know, like, hey, we love each other first, you know. We love each other first. Like, you can't just come over here and think you're just going to take one of my women after you're just talking about her bad, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to see me first.
Right.
You know? And that's the problem. You make it okay for them to put hands on them, talk to you crazy. You know, I had somebody tell me that get you a white girl. They say black women aren't supportive enough. If you really want your business or whatever to get going, your life or whatever, get you a white girl. Then once you get established, go back and then get you a black woman. Oh, okay. Which makes no sense to me, you know, because this is the way I look at it. If you got a woman that's with you through your grind right now, right, then that would be the woman you would want. I mean, it may not necessarily marry her. I don't know. Maybe she might become an employee. I don't know.
Right.
You know, but that's who you should trust. That's not who you should get on and then be like, hey, I know I ain't talked to you in a minute. You know, I'm busy now.
Right. We
ain't hanging out like we should. You mean after I stayed up all night with you to help you make shirts, to help you make cards, to tell you maybe you should try saying this or doing this or doing that. You know, that's somebody you should bring up with you. Whatever title you decide to give them, at least you bringing them with you.
Right.
You know, but my point is that black women help out a lot. They just always get the short end of the stick.
Right.
The short end of the stick all the time, you know, because they feel like, oh, you know, you're too aggressive or you're doing this, you're doing that. Well, you know, man, I'll probably, you know, the bros probably get me for this one. You know, but real talk, and this goes for myself, like, you got to be a man. You got to be a man. Period. And she got to be a woman too, but you got to be a man. You can't get at a woman and kind of be like, well, you know, you cook? No? All right, well, I don't know what we're going to do then, cuz. You know?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, you don't keep your hair done every week? Here I am. I barely cut my hair, you know, every 5 days. You know, and I got a bald head. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna hold you to that. You know, a little compromise. All I ask is at least put in a ponytail when we go out. Can I get that? You know, no? Okay.
Right. I wanted to touch on something. Well, 2 points with the word nigga. So I've been having a lot of conversations around this word for some reason, and I even posted about how I want to stop using it negatively. And I always tell people, I said, you know, because there's a lot of people who came at me, especially a lot of people that I'm in relations with, or we're close, I'll have a lot of people around me that do not like the word, do not use the word, and granted they're all black, but my thing is I feel a very close attachment to the word. It is something that I love. Blackness, I love, even when if you want to put a gender on it, I love black brotherhood. And I feel like it might be sad, and it might not be sad, but that is the word that describes it. And I don't really look at it as a negative thing.
Right.
Because even when you say you can't take a real nigga to the bank.
Right. Right.
But in my mind, like, I think Steve Harvey is a real nigga. You know, and I think he's definitely grown up in his niggahood or whatever it is.
I agree with you. It's definitely about in a term in which you use it.
Right.
When I talk about the ones, when I tell the ones you can't take a real nigga to the bank, those are the ones who they're not doing anything.
And
you just stand around yelling you're a real nigga. I'm like, well, what do you really do there, real nigga?
And I think we have to definitely like educate on that word, and because my thing is like I understood where you came from, and I somebody last weekend actually. They were like, you know, there's 3 kind of men. They were like, it's a man, it's a boy, and it's a nigga. And I'm like, well, what's the nigga?
Right.
You know, and she's like, oh, the ignorant, you know, whatever. And I go, how dare you sit here and think that is the definition of it? Because my thing is, you're giving the white person's definition of it credit. The root word means king, negus. And we still, people are like, oh, no, that's old. But we still say words that are derived from whether it be Latin, whether it be African language or not.
Right.
So why not attach the real meaning to it to what we use now? And I think the white people, right, and not even it's how you address somebody, and it was a positive address because it means king. The white people took it and made it to be this negative thing that we have. I mean, or whatever, but I think the connotative definition and made it to what we sometimes identify as like, look at this nigga over here like doing stupid whatever. I think we definitely have to like reclaim that word, and I'm not saying like everything that we do is perfect, but I do think at its core the brotherhood of it, or the sisterhood, because I tell people all the time, I'm like, I'd rather be a nigga than a bitch. So I'd rather I'm completely fine with it, and I don't think it necessarily takes from me. But I do understand, you know, what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying about how you address things. To me, I mean, maybe to another female, it might like, oh yeah, I don't, because I like I said, I have friends that don't like to be called that, and they'll correct you quick, and I'm just like, you know, it is what it is. I love the word. I love it so much. Right. So it's just one of those things. I think a lot of people, we have to really do a work when it comes to just understanding what that word is, because I've even got to the point where it was just like, it rings different in my ears when it's said negatively. Right. And I remember I was hearing it, especially hearing it with the kids, it just rings different. And then I had to realize, like, when it's used differently, it rings another way.
There are definitely some people that I ran into that pretty much told me, like, nah, I'm still sticking with it. I like it. My nigga. Like, that's what I, you know, that's what I identify with. That's what I'm rolling with, my nigga, you know? And the only reason I'm making such an effort to try to change it is because something that was meant to put us down or make us look a certain way, a derogatory way, I feel like it's got to be erased, because anything that I don't like, I need not to say it or do those actions, because I don't want you to feel like it's okay for you to approach me in that way or say that to me, which is back to what I was saying about talking to women a certain way. You can't call her a bro and my nigga, and then when you about to be a bro and she want to be a bro with you, can't be surprised. But if I tell you you're a queen and a princess, you'll understand. You know, there. You know what I mean? That's what comes with being a queen and a princess. Right. That's this not for you over here. You know, and you know, there are so many things to where black male and black female, we are already already considered a threat from the moment that you come out of the umbilical, come out the belly,
Right.
cut the umbilical cord. You're already considered a threat. So it's like you always have to do things to change the narrative or change the perception. And don't let you have some size on you and be black, whether male or female. Now you're really a threat, And the number one thing I can't stand is the change up in voice when people, get around white people. If I'm talking to you like this in this voice I'm talking to you now, this is the same voice that a white person is going to get.
Right.
I'm not going to see a white person, hey, how you doing? How you doing? What's going on?
Right.
Yeah, I'm King, and you are? Okay. Nice to meet you, buddy. No. I can still say, hey, buddy, how you doing? Firm handshake, look you right in the eyes as a black man. You hear it all the time. You go around white folks, they say, hey, don't act like a nigga, Huh? What do you mean? I don't know what that is. I'm a black man. I'm a black person. You're a black male. You're a black female.
Right.
That's what I'm going to act as, And somebody has said this before millions of times, but I'm going to say it again because it needs to be heard.
Right.
We get talked about so much being us, but we get mocked a lot too. It's a lot of things that's copied from us.
Right.
A lot of things that's copied from us. From the way we dance, from the way we talk, how we wear our hair, how we dressed, and going back again, all these things can deal with the mental awareness of young black men, and not even just young black men, young black females too.
Right.
When you feel like somebody is pretty much stealing an image from you. Somebody is saying the way you talk is bad, but when you watch a movie though, they're quick to put that in there for comedy.
Right.
How come when it comes to having like a unattractive woman in a movie, she always has to be big and black? How come? Why it can't be somebody who, I don't know, technically looks good, but they're not attractive?
Right.
Because, that's a whole other subject, but I mean, because your outer appearance don't make you fine.
Right.
You know what I mean? You could be very ugly on the outside.
Right.
But they always choose the big black person to be, okay, Nutty Professor, having a hard time getting women. The movie Precious. So on and so forth. Always making black folks look thirsty. Like we just always trying to get on. And that's the thing. Black folks have put so many things on. You know what I mean? And it's like, why are we the ones that's bottom of the barrel when it comes to, dealing with fashion?
Right.
It's a line of things. It's
Right.
so many things to name. I mean, you get a book of black inventors, you probably got to make more than a few copies.
Right. And I think a lot of time, I think we are at the bottom because we keep expecting to be put in rooms that not that we shouldn't be in, but we should be creating like our own things. Even when it comes to like the Grammys, I think they're on tomorrow. Like black artists, you've seen the greats be snubbed by the Grammys. So why are we still expecting to have a seat there? You've seen them literally ask for us to come in and perform, but then the awards go to the white people that nobody knows.
Right.
So it's like you want us to come and dance for you and give you this amazing show, but at the same exact show, you're not offering recognition for that. And Keith is in the comments. Hey, Keith. He said every word is about context. No, that's not the same word. It is derived from that word, Keith. So I don't know what you are reading. It is derived from the word. So they're not even comparable on the same thing. The same way how you have like manos and hand. Manos means hand, and you see a lot of words that are attached to mono that still have that definition. So, yeah, it definitely is derived from the word, and I think, like I said, that it definitely was shifted, like a lot of things were. Our language, the way that we dressed, a lot of that stems from slavery.
Right.
We had to create after slavery because we were stripped of a lot of our things. But if anyone is just now tuning in, this is your girl Jasmine Renee at the studio, at the Good News radio station, giving to you the Initiative radio show, and I'm here with King Walker, and we're just talking about some black things, and we're talking about we talked a little bit about kids and suicide. We kind of went into a conversation about the word nigga, and we also talked about mother issues and how that kind of can translate into like your dating life, and so on and so forth. But Keith said, no, it's not. It's pronounced totally different, and it's from the Ethiopian language in which slaves were not being brought from. So slaves, there were not any Ethiopian slaves, Keith? Is that what you're telling me? But yeah, so I kind of wanted to touch on like what you're doing now, kind of, like what is your kind of, not even end goal, but your next goal, I will say.
Okay, that's a good question. I'm glad you asked. My next goal, I'm looking forward to putting together a Young Black Man's March. And in that march, I want anybody who has any type of father figure to be a part of it. You know, because I feel like you know the young generation also needs to see someone older than them, you know, also out there with them during this march. You know, and this march is not only just for like freedom or nothing like that. This march is just to start building like a manhood. You know,
Right.
To try to get cats back to like carrying themselves a certain way, you know, building a certain mindset. I feel like that's what we're missing right now. You know, a lot of stuff is man-made, but it has a woman's touch on it.
Right.
You know, so at the same time, I feel like we gotta get back to having some type of structure, give them something or someone that they can look up to. You know, because you know a lot of the programs that they had back in the day, you don't even hear about them no more. I mean, you know, Boys and Girls Club.
Right.
You know, what was it where you could get like the Big Brother or the Big Sister program? You know.
You talking about the Hispanic guy, the homeboy? Pat, like he was like Pastor Homeboy or something. It was something like that, but it was in East LA. Are you talking about that one?
I'm not familiar, but I do know we don't have a lot of leadership programs anymore.
Right.
You know, stuff that they can go to after school. You know, someplace safe, something to help build their character. You know, so I want to do a march, and not only that, I want to finally be able to pick a day to where the kids come down, and we're talking like middle school to like high school, and learn how to fill out an application, learn how to tie a tie, you know, learn some proper etiquette, you know, what dress shoes to pick out, you know, learn how to put a game plan together,
Right.
you know what I mean, or what I'm going to do just for the day or for the week, you know, set some small goals. They don't have to be big out the gate, you know, and I feel like need more of that structure than for me to show you how to get drunk, than for me to show you how to get higher. You know, I feel like that's definitely the goal of this. That's the sole purpose of me doing this. You know, I want to be able to reach the youth, and of course, I want to reach the grown folks too.
Right.
You know, but you know, the future is in the people that are growing up under us. You know, so if you don't help build that up, then that's how you get to look at them. Because, you know, before I forget this thought, a lot of people look at the young people and they go, boy, they got a sad future. Okay, but being that we've been there before, some of us in their position, and know what it's like, what are we going to do to help make that better? What are we going to do to try to make some changes with that? Because I can just look at you and just let you walk off on the edge.
Right.
Or I can grab you and try to pull you away. Tell you, no, go this way. That's a dead-end road. This is the way you want to take. You know, don't fill that out, fill this out.
Right.
You know, don't wear that, put this on. You know, say this, not that. You know, and yeah, if you're not doing that, then you're not helping with the new generation either. You're not helping make any changes.
Right.
You know, so I mean, if it's just me by myself right now, then that's what it is. But that's what I'm ultimately here for. You know, I want to make changes. You know, I want to make changes, and I'm looking to speak to anyone, anywhere. I may just start popping up in barbershops and Starbucks, you know,
Right.
and just throwing out some motivation out there. You know? I mean, hey, people pop up and sell CDs and DVDs.
Right.
Why not
offer some motivation?
You know what I mean? Why not offer some energy?
Right.
You know, I don't care if it's church, the basketball court, college campus. You know,
Right.
Even if I just jump on the bullhorn out in the middle of the street. You know, you pull your phone out to watch somebody fight anyway.
Right.
Why not sit back to,
Right.
you know? Because, you know, it's a shame you got to go crazy to get people's attention. But unfortunately, if that's what's just going to get you the world star, you know, because people will talk about you before they congratulate you.
Right.
You know, man, this guy, he walked up in a barbershop talking all crazy, talking about be the best you can be, and it's already done. But guess what? One or two people in that room going to feel it.
Right.
And that's all I need.
Right.
And those are people I'm going to focus on.
Right.
You know, if it's, whether I got 100 or 10 people or 5 people in the room, if it's only one person listening, I'm just talking hard to them.
Right.
5, I'm talking to that group.
Right.
I'm not concerned about the people that's not paying attention.
Right.
You know, because them 5 going to tell somebody. Those 2 going to tell somebody.
Right.
You know what I mean? You just got to stay focused in your lane. It's going to build. It's going to build. You know, sometimes we be concerned about not having everybody's vote, you know, and everybody's vote don't count. You know, everybody that's, you know what I'm saying, that you think is rooting for you anyway, probably not.
Right. And I think that's something, next week I'm having a few of my girls come in and we're talking about toxic positivity. And I think people that, some people show up, and I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Some people show up, and they show up just in case you happen to fall.
Exactly.
And they show up just in case you happen to miss a step, or in case you happen to, you know, have the worst performance that you've had.
They're just there to say, I told you so.
Right, and they're not there. And then when you do, when you do well, they kind of like tiptoe out the back door and don't even congratulate you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's just to say, like, you don't want to, I posted even this week, it was self-destruction is caring about people who basically, like, don't give a fuck about you.
What did I say before? I said, okay, when you tell someone you got the job, everybody's like, congratulations.
Right.
Like, that's amazing. I'm so happy for you. Let me buy you a drink.
Right.
So on and so forth, right? Tell somebody you're getting ready to start your own business. Oh, that's what you want to do? Like, you sure you want to do that?
Right.
Wait a minute, no congratulations?
Right.
You ain't going to take me for a drink?
Right.
Oh, okay. So now you don't believe in me.
Right.
You believe in me working for somebody else.
Right.
But you don't believe in my dream. You don't believe in my destiny, my purpose.
Right.
You know, that's how you define who's really down for you. Because the person that's really down for you say, I want to get this started. First thing coming out their mouth is, how can I help?
Right.
You know, what should I do? You know, what you need me to do?
Right.
You know, or that's amazing. You know, if you need me, I'm here. You know, if they already trying to, they scared for you,
Right.
that's not the person that's probably you're going to need in your camp.
Right.
You know? So, you know, I mean, that's how I feel about it. I mean, listen, me with this motivational speaking, there's probably somebody right now probably listening like, nah, not this guy. Can't be. But you know what? I thrive off of that. You know, because it comes with the territory. That's part of it.
Right.
And if you're not willing to thrive off of people telling you no, you might as well not do anything.
Right.
So people are going to tell you no all the time. But guess what? As long as you keep going, even when they over there just denying you, saying you're not meant for this, or you're a bum, or whatever the case, whatever the case you may say, false prophet, et cetera, they still tuning in.
Right.
They still listening.
Right.
You know, because I got to see if this guy is going to mess up just like I thought he was.
Right.
And he's still going. And it's bothering me. Because I need you to give up.
Yeah.
You know?
So that brings up a question. In terms of, like, your circle. Because even with me, I know that I have to have a circle that's around me that kind of, and it's not to pat me on the back, but, like, somebody, people that are there. people that are there to kind of like pull you up by your bootstraps, basically,
Right.
you know, and kind of get you back. And I know I definitely have that circle, and they are jewels to me. But I did go through a transition where the circle that I once had is no longer. And I, you know, and not that they were negative, but they just weren't what I needed. And
Right.
I think we have to understand, like, people, not everybody is meant for you. So not everybody that you come across is meant to be the people that pour into you.
Absolutely.
And we have to understand, like, there's no harm, no foul. But if you're not positively pouring into me, I can't have you sitting at the dinner table with me. We can do maybe like once a month, or we can be Instagram buddies,
Right.
but I can't have you sitting here. So how has your journey through like your circle been? Have you just always been around like people that, or even growing up, like were your friends kind of like motivators, or were you ever a part of a group that you were like, yo, some of these people cannot be, and you know, they're affecting me negatively. I love you, but we can't.
Well, you know, sometimes you have to do a silent separation. You know, and sometimes you have to, where you just pretty much start separating yourself without saying anything. Or you have to put them in a box. Like, I deal with you when I'm here, but I don't deal with you when I'm here. You know? And as far as my personal circle, you know, I got a few people that I'm solid with, you know, and everybody else is just, I know you, we cool, but we're not gonna discuss what I really got going on, because I know you're not for me, you know. Talking too much is a big thing. Sometimes you tell people stuff just out of pure excitement. You want everybody to know, you know, but sometimes you got to keep some things to yourself, so they don't go home and pray that it don't happen. You know, we get you know, and it's like, I learned that through trials. You know, telling people stuff like, oh yeah, I got this going, or I'm gonna be doing that, and a lot of times people don't care about you doing something positive.
Right.
They don't see you until the actions come.
Right.
You know, just
Or
like,
until you fall.
right, until you
Right.
fall. Until you fall. And guess what? Even when you fall, you still got to get back up.
Right.
Because now they're looking to see, well, what you going to do now? Because you lost now.
Right.
You gonna be that bum I thought you was?
Right.
You know, or you going to fight back? What you going to do? You know, everybody loves a comeback story. But, you know, dealing with different people, I've always been a big vibe guy. All about the vibe. So if I don't like how you move around me anyway, I'm gonna put you in a box. So there's certain people who know certain stuff about me, my moves, and what I got going on, and there's certain people who just know, yeah, we can go drink, yeah, we can go hang out, we can go play some ball, but you don't have nothing to do with this, with what I'm building. You're not a part of that. You don't get clearance.
I think that's important, is compartmentalizing people. And I know even once I kind of got started with the radio and everything that I do, I had to realize that, and I didn't understand, you know, like, well, how do you, like, deal with these people, and how do you deal with those people, and just the people that I go to for, like, you know, instructions, kind of, and not even instructions, but just guidance. And I was like, how do you deal with all of these people? Or how do you not offend this group when you're doing this?
Right.
And they were just like, you know, you have to make sure, like, you compartmentalize them, that they have to understand. And it's not necessarily a conversation, but you have to make sure that you have your chart good, and you show up here for these things, and make sure they know, if you want to come here, that's fine, but please understand it's business.
Right.
And no, you're not the culprit of this. No, you're not the you know, assistant principal or whatever. You're not the co-president of what I'm doing.
Right.
You're just here to support. And if you don't want to support, it's no harm, no foul. I know what you're here for.
I think the best thing if I could put it in the best perspective is, like, you're a secret. You're a big deal. You know how the government say you got to have clearance to come here.
Yeah.
That's how it should be in your space. In your energy, only certain people should have clearance. Everybody don't get clearance to come in your energy space.
Right.
I'm sorry. I would love to share it with you, but you don't have that type of clearance. Right. You know, and some people gonna be very offended. But you know, you're not fit to know everything I got going on.
Right.
You know, and that's the thing when they talk about you know, you mess up a lot of blessings by like talking too much. You know, because like I said, you tell the wrong person, you may be like, yeah, I've been praying for this. That person can very well go home and be like,
Right.
yeah, we're gonna change that.
And even what you said about sentences, even though it's no direct correlation, but you had mentioned 5 sentences earlier, and I'm like, you know, you mess up your blessings by saying too much, or even maybe watching the wrong things, or listening too much, and listening to, like what you said, the naysayers. That messes up maybe how you are motivated to continue on with whatever it is that you're doing.
Right.
I think that's important, and a lot of times, like, we pay attention to money, we pay attention to tangible things, but then, like, your video, like, who's working in, and I think what is your intake? Because if you listening, even with music, if you don't switch it up sometimes, you're gonna be in that mood for a very long time, and you don't never, and you like, man, I just keep listening to this music, and I really like it or whatever, but you like, I'm just stuck in this place, and I don't know what it is.
Everything is about
Sit
the
in
energy.
silence sometimes,
Yeah.
or just trust yourself, listen to yourself. Stop telling everybody what it is that you're trying to do. Not everybody, and I've realized that going through a situation and kind of being like, I think you have to move that over because I think that's the static. Is it my phone? I don't know what it is. Maybe move it over a little bit more. Oh yeah, that's it.
Got it.
Maybe if you set it up on the can. Yeah.
Got it.
I remember going through just a really hard time, and I was about 17, I was 18. And I remember telling different people, what was happening. And I was just like, how can you not how can you not tell me, oh, it's going to be okay? Or how can you not check in with me after I told you this?
Right.
And I was very young, and I had to go through that. Like, stop telling the people that won't check in on you.
Exactly.
Stop telling the people that won't support you, and you won't be let down when they ask about something. Oh yeah, I was going through something. It's, it's cool. I'm good now. And that's just what it is. But I think I learned that at a early age, and not necessarily with what I'm doing, but with like my sorrows. Like, I just was sitting there, and I'm just like, now I feel even worse because I released and nothing came back into me. But I know when I go to my close, like, girlfriends, they're like, oh, I'm gonna come over, I'm gonna bring you food or whatever. And I can't get that from everybody. So I had to really like, okay, even when it comes to your problems, when it comes to your business plans, when it comes to what you think, you want to do, when it comes to even, because we go through, differences with people, and we argue with people, and there's some people that might be in your circle that you might get into it with, but you can't go and tell everybody. Sometimes you really need good advice to, how can I mend this relationship with my sister or my brother?
And that's going back to, everybody don't need clearance.
Right.
Like, you don't have clearance to know that information is classified.
Yeah.
And when I was talking about working within, it's because, everybody is so focused now on, like, drinking a shake, drinking a shake, getting summer ready, but you're not getting mentally ready, though.
Right.
I don't care if you're even getting ready to go. I don't care if you're going to go work out. I don't care if you're about to make some money. I don't care if you got the next $1 million plan.
Right.
If your mental and your inside is not correct,
Right.
when you get it, it's not going to go the way you would like to, because you're not prepared for it on the inside.
Right.
If I could put it in the best words, it's like, some people would call it like arrogant or whatever, but you gotta start developing the mindset like, oh no, this is not a surprise. Like, act like you're supposed to be here, but you gotta have that mindset. Act like you're supposed to be here, like, and I say that because it gives you some type of responsibility. Because if you do hit big, your mind and your spirit is so lined up together. You're like, okay, I know how to be responsible with this and have fun with this. Right. Versus when you get it and you didn't prepare on the inside, you're just like, boom, Jakes. I had $1 million. Right. I think I'm about to go ahead with the new Jordans came out. I'm hungry. Right. We're all going to Roof Chris. Let's go. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Versus, you really game planning on the inside. Because you already told yourself, I'm going to be humble. Right. I'm going to be humble. Right. I'm going to be patient. I'm going to be smart. I'm going to give back a little bit when I get this. Right. That's the game plan. That's the game planning on the inside. Because on the outside all day, it can be like, cool, I got whatever I need.
Right.
Let me go get the good body.
Right.
You know, well, you got to buy you some attitude too while you're at it.
Right.
You know, you know what I mean. So that's what I talk about with working within. That's why I said people don't take themselves out for having too much money.
Right.
You know, they take themselves out because their mental mind is not right. And one of the things I want to say too, also before I forget, is mental health, depression, anxiety is a real thing. People treat that as if like, you know, you just need to start drinking some more water. You know?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Just
like,
drink some more water.
You'll be okay. You'll
Right.
be okay, you know? And that's not the case.
Right.
People go through different things on a daily basis, different fires that they have to put out that makes them feel some type of way.
Yep.
You know? And that's why I talk about, like, you can't ignore people who are looking for help
Right.
or looking for attention, you know? Because I'm pretty sure everyone has lost someone at one point or another when they was asking you for that one thing.
Right.
And now you regret it like, oh, they've been trying to tell me. I was so focused trying to tell them, like, you'll be strong.
Right.
You got it. It's okay. I encourage everyone, when you go out and you're having fun, look for that person that's not partying like everybody else.
Right. And that's funny because, well, I mean,
Yeah,
it might not be funny.
He or she may say,
Right.
I'm just a quiet person.
Right.
I know you're not, because like I said, you talk to somebody.
Right.
I don't care if it's whoever you pray to. I don't care if it's that one
Right.
person you texting your phone. You talking to somebody.
Right. And last night I had went out with some of my friends. We went salsa dancing, which is different, but we enjoyed ourselves. And we're all black, and of course, like what you were saying earlier, you know, when you a black male or female, you walk into a room where there aren't a lot of you or there aren't any of you there,
right?
You know, you instantly the center of attention, and that's you know what happened last night. But we're very, and not necessarily like black girl magic, but we're very sisterhood, like sisterhoody or esque, I'll say, and we just believe in it so much, and we stick close together, and I had saw another black woman. She didn't come with us, and she was just sitting basically, and we're like dancing and doing a whole bunch of stuff. And I just kept saying like, I want to go say something to her. I want to go say something like to get her to come, you know, dance with her because we weren't really dancing with guys. We were just dancing in our circle. So it's different if a guy comes up and asks you compared to like another, especially black woman to black woman. We asked her, and she eventually, and she was just like, oh no, I come all the time. And when we got in the car, we were just like, you know, that was kind of weird that she was like, she comes all the time. And it was one of those things where it was like, I wanted to like connect with her because I'm like, you're trying to get away from something sitting here and you're not even enjoying like the festivities. You're sitting here drinking, watching other people enjoy this time. And I'm like, I just really wanted to like connect with her. And she was just like, that's so sweet of you to come over here. And she was just like, you know, I come here all the time, and it was one of those things, like, I can really attest to that, where I've been trying to be in a place where it's like, if even if it's somebody that you probably will never see again, if you have the urge to go speak to them, go do it. And you
just built the relationship.
Yeah.
Because guess what? That next person see you, that could be the moment you need it.
Right.
No, she spoke to me just because you spoke to her.
Right.
I'm going to put you on.
Right.
You know?
So, yeah, she, that was definitely, but I told those friends, I was just like, yeah, I'm getting to a place more where I've always been the type of person, like even when I was younger and my grandparents have a church, and when people would come to the church, I would always ask my dad, like, well, and if they were like, something was wrong with them, like if they were either sick or if they were homeless, whatever, I would be like, well, where are they going to stay? And I remember explicitly being at the church, and I don't know how old I was, but I was very young, and I remember this white guy coming in a wheelchair, but his whole body was swollen. His whole body was just inflamed, and he was so calm, and I remember them praying for him, and I remember when we all left, he stayed with us the whole day, and I remember when we all left, he kind of was just like willing away, like, you know, going wherever he was going, and I was just like, why are you guys gonna like go get him, or like is he gonna come back next Sunday? And we never, from what I understand, I never saw him again. And my dad was just like, you know, don't worry your pretty little head about it. But I've always been like, well, what like when they go home after they came from this enjoyable space, what is their home like, or how are they going home? Are they really okay? And I think now that I'm an adult, I'm in a space where I can go. I don't have to ask my father for permission to go talk, and I can go and act off those emotions.
Right.
So I think I've been telling those friends, I'm like, I'm gonna start acting off them because I get them so much, and it might not even be to go dance, or it might just be like, hey, how you doing? I like how your hair is, or I like this, but I'm gonna start acting more in those feelings that I have.
Absolutely.
And hopefully, they do, those feelings that I have are to ignite something in the other person. I probably won't ever see that woman again. But I do hope like she did feel connected to us.
She might start talking to other people at places now.
Right.
Because somebody spoke to her.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so I definitely hope like, that. But I think to the listeners, there are things that are put in us. And a lot of times we're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know what my purpose is. But you keep ignoring it. And it might be something small, like just talking to people.
The number one thing I can tell you, a sign as far as like knowing what your purpose is that one thing that keep coming back around.
Right.
That one thing that everyone keep asking you about. I don't care if it's singing,
right,
acting, starting up a walking club or whatever. If somebody keep asking you, hey, you're not doing that no more?
Right.
And you get that feeling like, man, I feel like I left something behind. I got to go back. That's what you're supposed to be doing. Right. Because this is just my opinion. Like I said, I know everybody don't believe in the same belief system. But God is going to keep putting that same exact thing on your heart until you listen.
And don't think that he's showing up in a huge fashion with like millions of dollars. Like, oh, I need you to manifest your gift. That's not what it's for. That's not what it is. And I think oftentimes we feel like, oh, well, they're on TV doing that. But it's like, so somebody got to work the ground. Like, everybody can't fly the plane. And some people have to work the ground. Some people have to turn the dirt over. And I'm like, I had to tell one of my friends, I'm just like, working in the trenches, because working with these kids is trenches. Working in the trenches is not easy. And you working in basically the trenches of the community to help prepare for the next generation. So I'm like, it's not easy at all.
No.
And I think you do have to pay attention to your mental awareness, like your mental health and stuff. And that's a question I wanted to ask you. Basically, like, what, as a black man, because I don't know a lot of black men that identify or that will even be able to articulate that they're going through either it's loneliness or depression or identifying with like rage and stuff. You see it, but you don't really hear them talk about it. And I feel like I'm blanking, but where have you experienced those things?
I know a lot of men who deal with depression, mental illness, anxiety.
Right.
I know a lot of them. But it all boiled down to spending time. You got to spend time. You got to spend time, and you got to talk to him. This is advice for a female too, because you may be with a man that's dealing with this.
Right.
You wonder why you're arguing every day.
Right.
You got to spend time. You got to spend time with him, and you got to make it an okay conversation. You got to make them feel like they're in control of letting out whatever feelings that they want to let out right now. I'm not forcing you to tell me what's wrong. And I'm not going to diagnose you either. A lot of people get real offended when you try to diagnose them about something. You know what I'm saying? You talk to them for 5 seconds like, oh, that's why you acting like that. Or you retarded. Like, that's the worst. That's going to now they're going to crawl back inside. Who you calling stupid? Now you got an argument.
Right.
But a conversation, like if there's anything wrong, like, you can tell me, or open up to them about something. But since you're sharing, let me share something.
Right.
It's most of the stuff is just based off like the relationship and a conversation. Not me talking at you.
Right.
But us talking together.
Right.
Us sharing some stuff.
Right.
I feel like that's a big deal when you meet someone. Break out the pen and the pad. Listen, I'm gonna write down something you don't know about me. Write down something I don't know about you.
Yeah.
And it may not have to do with mental. They could be like, hey, I got 6 toes. I've been meaning to tell you. That's why I always wear my socks.
Right.
Now you know. But that's the thing. Like, we don't take time to talk to each other, to get to know one another on a more personal level.
Right.
We just go, what's your favorite color?
Right.
What's your sign? Okay, cool. Oh, you drive that? I already know this ain't going to work.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're losing out on the best player that could possibly be on your team.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
It's a conversation. It's really just about a conversation and spending time with that person.
Right.
Because some people, you'll already get your answer just by hanging out with them.
Yeah.
You may not need to really ask no questions.
Right.
And so because you switch up and start moving a certain way, they going to notice, oh, you paying attention to me.
Right.
You notice I don't really like walking into a door not unless you spraying here first. You know? You know what I mean?
Right.
Got to pay attention to each other's vibe.
Right.
Each other's character.
Right.
You know?
I think that's very necessary. I think, because we have a lot, when it comes to black men and women, we clash a lot. And there's such a beauty when we come together, but there is a clash at some point in times, and I think it's important that we become very sensitive to each other. And I've often, I'm in a lot of spaces with black men, and they care, and a lot of black women will say that they don't, that y'all don't.
As a man, I can tell you men care a lot.
And that's the thing, but I think it's a different language.
Yeah.
It's something that you have to really pick up on, because I was sitting in, shout out to the Hub Radio, I was sitting in the studio with them after we did a show, and it was all men, and I was the only woman in there. And they were just like, what did they say? They said black women are basically, I forgot what he said, but public enemy number one. And we sat there, we had a conversation. Most women probably would not have sat in on that conversation, because I was only there because I produced the show. There were other females there, but they ended up leaving. And I stayed because, it's good conversation. I'm always around. And there's been many conversations where I've sat with him, and I've been the only female in there. But they were just like, they're public enemy number one. Like, people are gunning for them. And they were just like, we are, as black women, they were saying, we're the givers of life. And we are the ones that birth, black men. And even to me, I'm like, well, I feel like the black man is also attacked as well. But their conversation was just like them realizing how much we as black women are attacked. And I think even in that moment, they were just realizing, like, there's more of a work to be done. And if I would have came in there and been like, y'all need to, do this for us more. Y'all don't speak up. Y'all always quiet. They probably would have been like, man, we do talk for y'all, and not have realized the increment, even if it was a small increment of change they needed to do to protect us more. And I think a lot of women don't sit in on those conversations, because I've literally had to go back and forth.
I always said, if women want to know any answers as far as like dealing with men, and we're gonna talk about black men in general, you might have to just go ahead and sit in on the conversation. Don't say nothing.
Right.
Like, you got to let the conversation happen. Can't have an opinion right now.
And you learn a lot.
You're gonna get your real.
You're gonna learn a lot.
Get your real answers. Some of them gonna hurt your feelings, but some of them gonna be like, "Oh, that makes sense." Like, that's why you be acting like that.
And I don't think that there's. I mean, granted, there's black women who are detrimental to black men, and there are black men who are detrimental to black women. But I think the narrative of black men just do not support and do not protect black women is far fetched. And there are a lot of black women who will literally tell me I'm crazy for standing up for it.
Standing up for a black man actually
for basically siding with the black man and saying yes. But I'm like, we have a hard time as black women, and I'm gonna go there. We have a hard time as black women identifying that we are also at fault too. We have because I mean, just speaking of your story, a black woman might look at you, and even let's say that you didn't get to a point where you date black women now, but you were still in, or you just are at a place where you only date outside of your race because of what your mother did to you.
Right.
In my eyes, like she said, you're that way because someone did something to you. So she became problematic for a black man, even though something was done to her. But she became problematic. So we have to understand that black women do have a certain role in our downfall. That we're not just the givers of life, and because we gave life, everything is perfect as of what we do. Like, there are certain things that we contribute to the black community that is extremely detrimental, and we're so strategic. So it might even be more harmful than that of a black man. But I think we have to understand that the roles are equal, that we both are pouring positively into the pot, but we both are also pouring negatively into the pot. I don't think it's more on one than the other.
I agree with you 100%. It's definitely bad on both sides.
Yeah.
That's why I say that's why I say what I say. That's why I said that, we have to talk to each other a certain way. It's a conversation. And I don't think we have a conversation with each other enough. We actually feel like we know who we are.
Right.
And we don't.
Yeah.
Because even though we all may be black, each one of us have a different personality,
Right.
a different trigger to getting upset
Right.
or being happy. We have to get to know each other as individuals.
Yeah.
Before we can gel together.
Right.
And it's like we just identify every black person being on the same level.
Right.
And it's like I don't want to say like what's the idea that I'm looking for, that I'm thinking about actually is like going back to the trophy scenario. Like we need to treat each other like trophies.
Yeah.
And we also need to treat each other, for the people on the outside looking in, that you need clearance to be a part of this.
And what you were saying about that, the trophy thing, I'm glad you brought that back up because I had a thought. There are people in other countries, and I forgot who I was talking to about this, but they were telling me when we go to other countries, people look at us like we're silly, kind of. And at first I was like, what? Like, what do you mean? And they were like, no, because they see how great we are, and they see how we should be revered and reverenced, and they look at us like, why are you walking around here like you regular? Like, why are you walking around here like you don't have what it is that you have? Yeah. And they were like, it's not a negative thing, but they're just looking at you like, it's as if to see like, I don't know, what would be a good example? To see like someone that's an actual, like in king attire and is actually a king, just walking up and down the street acting like a bum.
Right.
And it's just like, what are you doing? Like, you don't see your worth. You don't know how worthy you are of positive attention, or you don't know how important it is for you to love your black man, or for you to love your black woman. And I was like, how crazy and beautiful is that?
Right.
That even in the world, or in the society that we live in America, how we're put down so much, there are people that are outside of this country that still are holding us to a certain, stature. Absolutely. That are like, no, you guys are beautiful. Yeah. You guys are to be held up to this standard. I think that's so dope. And what you brought up, like, yeah, we are trophies, and we're the only ones who just can't seem to grasp it.
No, and that's the part that gets me.
Yeah.
That's why I say what I say about the speaking into existence and talking to each other a certain way. Right. To try to change the narrative. You know what I mean? Like, right. It's like I said, even in movies and even in real life, we get so many of the titles that's, it's funny to laugh at. Right. It's interesting to see, right. But at a certain point, it's like, this is how you really feel about me. Like, this is the way you really view me. Right. Everybody knows the joke is, if a white person come in this room right now and we say, hey, can you go get us some food? Chicken and watermelon, right? That's the
right.
That's the joke, right? That's their favorite thing. Y'all want some watermelon?
Right.
You want some chicken? Like, nah, as a matter of fact.
And that's so funny because that probably, should I get you some chicken? Right. That probably would be the
as a matter of fact, dog, I'm vegan. Now what? And they feel, oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah,
We're versatile. I do like chicken and watermelon. And I probably would eat it if you brought it. But we are very versatile.
That's what I'm saying. You can bring something baked. It's okay. Like,
right.
I'll take a salad.
Let me ask you something. So, have you seen the Nicki Minaj and City Girls twerk video?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I was asked, and they were asking me because they knew my response. They just wanted me to articulate it.
Is that Cardi B?
Cardi B. I'm sorry, not Nicki Minaj.
No, I just want,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Not that I wanted to correct her. I ain't watched the video that many times. I just
no. He was like, no, you're right though. But they can all be put in the same category for what I'm getting ready to ask. So I was asked, is that considered black girl magic? And whether is that considered black girl magic?
Watch this. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
And the reason why it is because we're talented and the best at everything. No one can do it the way we do it.
Is talent black girl magic though?
Is a talent black girl magic? There's a certain level.
Because you can be a talented prostitute.
No. Well, hold on now. Hold on now.
I mean,
hold on now. The reason why I called it black girl magic is because this is my opinion.
Okay.
I don't know the girl's name.
Okay.
The girl hit a backflip off the stage.
Okay.
Fell on her knees and then jumped into like a regular like neck handstand with like no cables, no ropes tied to her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you not let you, how many white girls you see do that?
Well, can it be just a talented person?
It could be a talented person, but listen, physically, the structure, black people are built different.
But so can you? What is your? Because I want to start asking men this. What is your perception of black girl magic?
Honestly, outside of the video that we're talking about,
right?
It's the way, it's the attitude, it's the attitude, it's the way you walk, it's how you carry yourself on a daily basis,
right?
You know, and black women have an energy that can command the room without saying nothing.
Yeah.
Now, magic sounds like magic to me, right?
Right.
Okay. Black women have a way of looking at you to get your attention,
right,
without saying something,
right?
You know, either it's gonna be good or bad.
Yes.
You know, they're able to pull off certain styles,
right? You
know, set trends that other people couldn't probably pull off,
right?
You know, it's just a natural. I want to call it like a natural diva swagger that black women have.
Okay.
You know, and I feel like when you look at it, I go back to saying this. These are the things that white women try to mock. Hand movements, how you say it, the way you walk.
Right.
Okay. So, butt surgery is going up. Why is that? Oh, because you feel like black women have the biggest. So we want to identify. We want the biggest cheeks too.
Right.
You know. Oh, you're getting tan. You're getting tan because you want to be a part of the Mama Lean is popping. You want the hashtag. You want to, honey skin. That's what you want.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're doing all these things to try to get as close as you can to identify with trying to be a black woman. You know, and that's why I say it's magic. It's because something that you're born with. They want to identify that. They wasn't born that way.
Okay, so let's ask this. You don't have children, right?
Nope, I don't have any children.
Okay, so we talk about black girl magic, and I have my perception of it. So is black girl magic something that we can, no matter what's inside of it, we can give to black girls? We can show them. Is that...
black girl magic is also a matter of perception, too. You can make your own definition.
So that was my thing where when you think of black girl magic, and if that were to be put in the category of black girl magic, do we, what is the word, like section off things? Is there an explicit black girl magic and then a PG black girl magic?
Because you're asking me, I'm going to say this. Black girl magic should be in a respected situation at all times.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It should never be a situation where you feel like I'm not carrying myself a certain way. But not only to mention, doesn't make you perfect.
Right.
You can still be human with having black girl magic.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that's also like, you can add that into having a certain honesty, you know what I mean, about yourself. That could be a part of black girl magic. You know what I mean? Because you don't have to pretend to be somebody else, just to be able to put on or set the example for someone. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like for instance, you don't have to like if there was a coach that said, listen, I haven't won a lot of games, these past couple of seasons. But what I can guarantee you is I always give my best effort.
Right.
I'm gonna be here with you through the rain. I'm gonna be here with you if you get hurt. You know, I'm gonna dedicate all my time to this.
Right.
That's what I can guarantee you. Is, you know, I make mistakes, but if I'm wrong, I apologize. You know, so what I'm saying is, like, all that can go in to the Black Girl Magic thing, and being honest, being who you are, not afraid for someone to see you fail. You know, it has different levels.
Right.
It has different levels. It don't have to be put into a box of always being sexy or you know what I mean, or twerking or looking a certain way,
Right.
or always have to be dressed up. You know, because Black Girl Magic could have been t-shirt and sweats, but you still got to work on time.
Right.
I'm here. I'm here. Now, whether you want me to go back and change,
right.
I'm here.
Right.
I'm on time.
Right. I think, yeah, it's an interesting question. My response is always no. I just feel like I feel like Black Girl Magic is us kind of reclaiming who we are, and it is. I've expressed it as it's a gift to the younger generation, and I can't include that in the gift. You know, if that's what you have, then that's what you have. But I can't go and do that. You know,
the only reason I say that is because when you look at it, you put on a beat anywhere, well, not just females, with Black people in the room. Automatically, what's gonna happen?
But dancing at a family party and doing
that
is
nobody said it was gonna be a twerk off at the family party.
But I'm just saying, like, we dance
but,
and
it might
stuff.
It might be though.
Even like if you look at 90s parties, like there's an okay way to dance that does not cause you to be half or fully naked.
Right, of course not.
You know, doing all of that. Like I just have my views. I'm not.
So what do you think it is though? It's just twerking?
Yeah. I think, but I mean, yes, of course they're Black women, and that, you know, that is what it is. But I don't think it's Black. I don't think it's queen behavior. I don't think it fits in Black Girl Magic. I think it's our essence. I think it's who we are. I think it's the way we wear our hair. I think it's the way we address situations.
Absolutely.
But I think there's a carefreeness about Black Girl Magic. But I think, yeah, that is. It's not something I would show any of the kids that I'm connected to, whether they're 18 or whether they're
we wasn't saying that.
But when I think of Black Girl Magic, I think it's all encompassing. Right. You know, that it's something that I can present to you and put on the table.
I'll say everything looks better in color. Which is Black Girl Magic.
Oh, I'm like, are you talking about the video? Or
I'm just what I'm saying is that
we do it better. Okay.
Yeah, it just looked better. It just looked better in color, more alive, more energy, more strength.
I mean, there is a talent there, and that's complete. That is what that is.
I know because he called it twerking. It's like, well, no, it's not.
Not even what it's called, but and even if you think of when you think of different cultures, there are cultures that dance like that. Yes, but it's not. It's a part of their culture. It's not. And then listen to the lyrics. My goodness.
Yeah.
It just is like, okay. You know, I can't even watch the whole thing.
Right.
So, I don't know. But you guys can definitely hit the DMs and let me know. We're going to get ready to wrap up. Any last things or any other questions that you, maybe that's in society right now?
I just want to tell everyone that's listening that on a daily basis, make sure you appreciate your everyday breath and take time to yourself to define your purpose.
Right.
Pay attention to what is being said to you, you know, on what you need to do and on how to move. You know, like I said, keep your circle to where only certain people got clearance to know what you got going on. Other than that, it's top secret to everybody else. Right. And shout out to the Good News for having me.
Yes.
You know, I appreciate you, and I appreciate you guys appreciating me. Those who got something from this. Please excuse me being under the weather. I'm sorry, but I still wanted to be here, and I hope you got something up out of this. And that's pretty much it.
I'm sure they definitely did. And then once I end it in a few minutes, I'll send you the actual link. And you can send it out, and people can listen to the episode. Okay, no problem. And you can post it in your bio or whatever, and when people click on it, the episode will pop up, and they could just listen. Oh, and also to the Instagram is King_Walker1. All right, the number 1. That's yes. King_Walker with the number 1. Yeah. So Good conversation, definitely.
I enjoyed
Good conversation. As you guys know, it's Black History Month. I'm not anti-Black History Month, but I'm just, it's normal,
Oh, it's definitely normal. I'm
It's
black
normal.
every day.
Yeah, so I definitely wanted these shows because last week I aired the show about suicide. This week is a, perspective of a black man, and we just talked about like a host of different things. But I think, I was told that I believe mostly black women listen to my show, even though I do explicitly talk about like the black male and stuff.
Right.
And I do a lot of like corrective things when it comes to black women. So I love that women that are listening, black women that are listening, that may not have or are getting the chance to sit down and talk to black men, the way that we were able to like exchange dialogue. I hope like what you said has shed some light. And I think there's also some gray areas when it comes to sometimes we don't open ourselves up to black men to be able to have the conversation.
Absolutely.
And it might be easier listening through your earphones when you're not having to respond and stuff like that. So I'm hoping this was a conversation helping you, empowering you to understand black men more. But yeah, it's something that I believe we need to do. The takeaway for today, I would just say is, continue the essence in what we were doing today, and it's just talking and, different views. Some things we agreed on, some things we didn't agree on, but we were able to sit here, have a conversation and talk about a host of different things. It wasn't just, targeted, and we talked about some experiences. You definitely shed a light on some things for me, so I'm definitely appreciative. Shout out to Keith. He is mentioning the word niggas.
Okay.
And then he said that's because you're a real one. I think he was talking about when I was talking about
how you like the word.
Yeah. Or no, I think he was talking about when he was talking about when I said I go against black women when they say that black men don't support this. Right. Keith, did you want to call in right now? I didn't have the Skype up. If you want to call in right now, you can call in. And he said good ass show. So that's Keith Good News. He's the owner of the station.
Oh.
So yeah.
Okay. Well, shout out to Keith, man. I appreciate that.
So, I don't know what's going on with the Skype. Oh, there it is. If you want to call in. I'll stay on for like a few more minutes. He said you're a real black woman. Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, I think it's imperative. Like I grew up with 3 black little brothers, and my father is black.
Right.
So typically it was 4 black males in the house and me and my mother, and my mother basically taught me to cater to
that's always been
black
the biggest
men.
factor for women having their father and their mother in life. Give you that good balance.
Yeah.
So
and I often think sometimes I advocate a little more for black men than I do for black women. And that's just that, but I definitely love black men and from a point of like I just admire it. Like my brothers are younger, but I have 2 younger brothers, and I really just can't wait to see them get older. I don't know where. Oh wait, hold on. Here. Hey, I'm guessing this is Keith.
It is I.
Hi Keith, what's up?
Hey, what's up? Hey, once again, I just want to call and say great show. I told you before, I listen to every Saturday morning because I think that the conversation you bring to the table is not one that everybody's comfortable with bringing.
Mm-hmm.
Most people want to talk about what's going on in entertainment or whatever the case may be. And I find it refreshing every Saturday to listen to your show, and I get somebody to argue with. So I look forward to it.
Every Saturday.
But I do want to say thank you once again because, I forgot my man's name. I'm not going to lie.
King Walker.
Your guest. His name was Keith Walker?
Yeah.
Okay, so his name's Keith too, see?
No, King. K-I-N-G.
It's King Walker. How you doing?
Oh, my bad. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Good.
But I just wanted to say I'm glad that you create the space for the platform to where black men can come into it and feel comfortable, and you make everybody feel, whether a black man, a white man, a white woman, I think you have a platform to make everybody feel comfortable because although your pro-blackness, you know, is definitely in front of you. You do have the conscious ability to see perspective, and that's not common, especially when people are so pro-black, they're blinded by their pro-blackness, and they can't understand the other perspectives,
Absolutely.
even from another black person.
Absolutely.
So,
Are you
anyway,
talking
I was
about
calling
me,
to say
Keith?
thank you. Go ahead.
Sorry, are you talking about me, Keith?
I was talking about you, yeah. But it's cool.
Thank you, Keith, man. I really appreciate that, though. I appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely. So, anyway, y'all continue on. I just wanted to call and say, man, I'm enjoying the show.
That's
and
great.
by the way, just to complete my argument on the term niggas, S is only in the English, well, not only in the English language, but in comparison to the word N-E-G-U-S, that is a plural term. It's not a plural term. It's a singular term. And when we use the word niggas here, it's a plural term, and it's derived from the word nigger. That's where nigga is derived from. And it's actually that word is derived from the improper pronunciation of Niger. What I was saying was the word niggas came from the Ethiopian language, which was on the other side of Africa, versus where all the slaves came originally, for the most part, were from West Africa. So, which was from Nigeria, Libya, Niger. So that's kind of what the term does. I do like the fact that we found out that the word niggas means, you know, to reign or king or emperor. And now we're starting to tie that to that term. But it's also important to understand that that's not what we mean when we say it. I mean, most niggas just found out about that word anyway. So, you know, anyway, that was my point. So I'm just done.
Well, we will start doing the work to hopefully bring a more positive definition to the word.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. But y'all still my niggas though, so I feel you. And I love, and I love my niggas, so it's all good. I know what it means to me, and you know, so it's all good.
Sure.
Well, thank you for calling in.
Definitely appreciate
All right,
it.
for sure.
All
Talk to y'all
right,
later.
Okay, so that wraps it up pretty much. And like he said, you can follow him on @King __ Walker and 1.
Yes.
And just, you know, always posting something that's motivational.
Every day.
Always,
Every
yeah.
day. 7 days
Always.
a week, I
So,
got you.
you know, I think it's imperative to have it on your timeline. You know, because you don't, he's not like, it's not a call that you have to get on. It's not like a 5 a.m.
Right.
You scrolling through your timeline anyway. So go ahead and follow him. So once you see him, you can just click. And they're not, some of your videos aren't even like a minute long. Some of them are under a minute.
Messages.
So, yeah.
Just want to grab your attention real quick. You know, don't want to hold you. Just want to drop something on you.
Right. Did you have something else? Or
No.
Okay.
I'm good.
All
I'm
right.
good. I just need y'all to go ahead and follow.
Yeah.
The more y'all follow, the more you're going to see me, the more I'm going to keep doing. I'm going to keep doing this regardless, but the better you bring it, the bigger you build it.
Yeah.
The more I'm going to keep giving.
Yes. Shout out to my best friend Shakira. She just commented. She said that's some good knowledge. I'm guessing she was talking to you.
I'll tell her I said thank you.
Okay.
If she can hear me. Alrighty.
Yes, she can. All right, so we're gonna sign off. I really appreciate you guys for listening. And if you are playing the episode back, definitely send the link out to people and make sure you follow King Walker. But yeah, that's about it. You guys will catch me. I believe I'll be here. Yes, I will be here next Saturday at 10 a.m. live. So all right, have a blessed day.